guys, this is Floyd Tucker with Dream Simplicity. I'm here with Adam Needles, who is the Director of Field Marketing and B2B Marketing Evangelist for SilverPop. How you doing?
Good to be here.
Fantastic. So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
The first one would have to do with kind of the technology side of things. And I wanted to learn a little bit more about how SilverPop's technology helps to reduce the cost of sale for your clients.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. What we find when you talk about the actual cost of sale, there's actually a couple factors involved. One, more than ever, in a Web 2.0 world, we see the shift in power where buyers are really saying, hey, I want to interact with you when and where I want to do it, right? I want to consume the content that's of most importance to me. I want to, leverage social channels, talk to other users. And so more than ever, what we see as important is to engage with the buyer when and where it's most appropriate to them and let the buyer decide. And so one of the things, if you're going to be efficient in your demand generation process and in the current era where more than 50% of leads actually come from inbound channels, what you need to be able to do is you need to engage with that buyer when and where, and so automation becomes that semantic platform. The other issue is that you've got, with the buyer saying, hey, I want to talk to you as the vendor last, that means I really want to talk to your sales team last. And in that type of environment, it's really important to only deliver up to the salesperson those leads that are absolutely the best. They're actually at that stage, they're ready to go, and they're already predisposed to being interested in your company. You're already on the short list, you've done all the work, right? And so with a sales resource costing about 40 times what a typical marketing automation touch would cost, that 40 times is a big differential. You want to make sure you only deploy those resources when it's ready. So the other part of it is really making sure you vet and deliver up only the highest quality, highest opportunity, highest propensity to sell, for your salesperson to be successful, leads to your sales team.
So, as we're moving forward here and looking into the future, I think more and more people are spending the time via the internet educating themselves on what options are out there. And I'm just wondering, what are some of the challenges that you see in selling Sales 2.0 technology?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think that there's a real educational gap today, and this is where we see conferences like Sales 2.0 being so critical. In this era where you see such a substantial shift going on in terms of the buyer and the buyer dynamics, it's really important for marketers and salespeople to understand that. More than ever, they've got to realign their processes, they've got to realign their activities in terms of that buyer. And so really the educational gap and realigning your processes is the biggest challenge. And so that's where, again, we see conferences like Sales 2.0 being really critical. That's why we as a vendor have really invested. We do our B2B Marketing University series where we don't actually charge marketers anything to attend, and the whole point is that we feel like we've got to pay it forward. We're in this brave new world of sales and marketing, and it's really important to educate and to bring forward the next generation of marketers and salespeople.
So you talk about moving into the brave new world. I'm wondering what you think are some of the keys to successful selling within the cloud.
Yeah, well, when you talk about the cloud, obviously this is a term that gets used, misused, whatever. But I think maybe the best way to think about the cloud today is that the cloud is really that web of information resources that the buyer has at his or her fingertips today. More than ever, really, we're talking about Web 2.0. We're talking about an evolving, increasingly becoming a Web 3.0 environment. And so really, I think the importance of being successful in the cloud with this new generation of buyer is really about having a platform that can kind of turn your marketing inside out so that all the edge interactions you would have had, all the field events, all the nurtures, all the interactions, rather than it being kind of haphazard and you're just pushing out, that actually becomes where all the intelligence and insight is. And marketing automation is really critical because it takes that edge and it folds it to the center. It puts the buyer at the center of your marketing activities. And so automation together with smart content marketing strategy and then a lead management process really helps you be effective at doing that, which is, I think, today to be successful in the cloud, you've got to be doing buyer-centric demand generation, and automation is going to power that.
Definitely. And I'd read somewhere as well that you've recently merged some of your offerings.
Yes.
I guess within the last couple months or 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about maybe what that merge is, what led to that, and what parts of kind of your offering that was associated with it?
We are really excited about Engage 8. So Engage 8 is our new platform where we've taken the sort of the heritage of two platforms. One, what used to be called our marketer platform, which became our Engage platform, which was our email platform. And SilverPop's been in the business for more than 10 years, and so that was our original legacy. About 3 or 4 years ago, we acquired vTrends, a marketing automation provider, which then eventually became our Engage B2B platform. And in the last 6 months, we've brought the two platforms together to really develop what we consider the next generation digital marketing automation platform. And what's exciting about it is you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, right? So I think one of the things you see is that anybody who gets into automation at some point started in email marketing. And so we have the ability for you to start at a basic level and move your way up. Another thing that you see is that email is such a critical connective thread at the center of automation activities. It's how you serve up incremental new content offers throughout the process. It's how you create touches that enable you to then learn a little bit more about your buyer, and it's that iterative nurture, right, that's going back and forth. And so we have a marketing automation platform that actually does email better than anyone else out there. It's amazing how many marketing automation platforms have low deliverability levels. Like they're maybe pushing 60, 70%, 80% on a really, really good day. The truth is with your email, you should expect 95% plus deliverability. You should expect your vendor to know everything about the latest and greatest, rules around whitelisting, domains, everything. And so we've got all that. The last piece about it is, to be honest and fair, marketing automation technology is kind of going through a dinosaur phase right now, which is the first generation of automation is becoming sluggish. It's not performing. And so we felt it was really critical to re-architect two things. One, the fundamental underlying processing power, right? To send a single email, to send a single campaign through automation, you have to do a lot of processing, which means you've got to have a rock-solid, enterprise-grade processing platform. We have that from years of enterprise-grade emailing, right? The other part's the data integrity. And so we've actually gone back to the drawing board. We've taken our CRM integration with Salesforce and others. We've re-architected, have synced it up. And so, you walk away with a platform that's got the best of both worlds, email and automation. You've got enterprise-grade stability, email deliverability, and you've got this, really smart advanced data architecture that's really well synced to CRM. We know as marketers that data is absolutely the critical core element of successful marketing in the current era. Everything that we've just talked about, when we talk about Buyer 2.0, we talk about this new era, if you don't have the right data, if it's not synced up, you can't automate, you can't push messages, you can't engage. And so we're really excited about Engage 8 because we brought all of the best together into one new platform.
So, being that people have come from far and wide to be here at Sales 2.0 Boston, I'm wondering, what are some of the benefits that you've seen, being a partner with a conference like this?
Yeah, I think that the benefits are pretty pervasive. I mean, we've seen engagement and the dialogue. I mean, just really spirited conversation this afternoon about marketing and sales processes and alignment of metrics. I mean, we're digging into fundamental things. Great panel earlier today on compensation. I mean, these are things, when you talk about sales and marketing alignment, you've really got to have it all together. And if you're going to be a successful B2B marketer in the current environment, it's critical to have your sales team on board, and vice versa. If you're going to be a really successful salesperson in the new Buyer 2.0 era, you better be aligned with your marketer. It's all about this new buyer. It's all about the buyer and their power, and we've got to align our sales and marketing process around the buyer, which means we've got to have infrastructure that enables us to do that. This is a conference where you can take and learn about the changes that are occurring. You can find new best practices and processes, and then you can tie that to technology. We've got a great showcase here of a number of vendors in our space with best-in-class technology to help you power that new set of processes and to respond to these new insights and to be successful again in driving buyer-centric demand generation, this Buyer 2.0 world.
Wonderful. All right. Well, Adam Needles from SilverPop, thanks so much for your time.
Great, thank you.